Mark Stoops' biggest problem has always been the passing offense, right? Like, and Drew, for this team, this program to do anything crazy, they have to just be better passing the football. That's been the biggest hang-up this entire time. And in the offseason, you thought they made the adjustments to take that next step, and it was going to be at the right time. I mean, let's be honest, 2021, that kind of bailed their asses out too. Like, that was a very important hire at offense coordinator. Stoops knocked it out of the park with a risky move and had the best passing offense in 14 years, right? Like, they crushed it, and they had record-breaking performances from receivers. They had an all-time run. Like, it was incredible. And so you thought, like, okay, well, they're going to be able to recapture this magic just in time for this thing. And, Drew, the question that I would like you to answer, because it's an answer that I think has me – it's what has me really down today. Has this Kentucky – have we hit the hard ceiling? Has it plateaued? Have we reached the mountaintops and the 9-3, the 2 9-3s are it? Is this kind of, I don't want to call it a spiral, but is that the most we're ever going to get out of this fun run?
I don't want to say it's the ceiling, because I thought we were at a ceiling a long time ago and Mark Stoops punched through that one. But this one is certainly, this is a thick slab of concrete on this ceiling. It's not one we can just expect to punch through anytime soon. I know Luggett wrote this on the board. A lot of it is just how people see what the next level is. Some people want to go be in the playoff. That's a little far away for me. I want to be consistently top 25 and consistently favored over Missouri, Vandy, South Carolina, and then, kind of rotating with the big dogs. But just to go back to your question, I don't think this is the ceiling. I just think that the next step is much harder than any step they've had to make yet.
My feeling of dread is just because I think that the ingredients for the 2018 season were what Mark Stoops is most comfortable with, and they had the best of the best in those ingredients. It's a great running game, great offensive line, great defense, best. I'll never see a defensive football player at Kentucky as good as Josh Allen. And they were an overtime away from winning at A&M in a terrible game plan by Eddie Gran, and they didn't have the quarterback to get it done. And then they completely just didn't bring it at Tennessee. My next step for you, like you were asking what the next step is, I just want the Sugar Bowl. Like, can we have that New Year's Eve in New Orleans where I roll out of bed at noon on the first, and the bowl games are on, and I'm feeling terrible, but you know what? I got 8 hours to bounce back and get ready to watch the Cats play in the Superdome. That is my next level. I think I just worry that moment was fleeting, and that's where probably my overall sense of dread is. I'm not willing to go all the way there. But I think that's where it comes from, because a lot of things were teed up for this. But maybe I just took for granted what Will Levis and Wan'Dale Robinson and Chris Rodriguez could do. Maybe they were just a lot better than what I thought, right? Like those guys. Maybe those guys were just that good, and we aren't going to see a lot of similar players like that around here for a while.
Yeah, I think those players are coming, though. Like, I think they'll find that level of player again. But, like, the step that I think everybody wants to get to, or even just keeping this thing rolling, it's hard to do it unless you get in some good quarterback play.
Yeah.
Like, you got to pass the football.
Why is it so hard? 80 of the 130 teams in college football are pretty good at it. Like, why do we have to be the Iowa of the SEC? Like,
and then you got to realize 21. You had Wan'Dale. You had two NFL receivers, Wan'Dale and Josh Ali.
Yeah.
You can't forget
Wan'Dale's special.
Yeah.
Pre-Stoops. Yeah. Pre-Stoops, like if you go with year after Woodson, they've had two teams that could pass the ball, essentially. It was 2010 and 2021. That 2010 team had Randall Cobb driving the offense, and then it had Chris Matthews, another NFL receiver outside. The 2021 had Ali in an NFL as number 2, and then you had Wandale Robinson. Like, that's 2 top 50 picks that were just studs in every regard, in Cobb and Robinson, and guys that, Cobb's he's still freaking playing in the NFL. Like that,
He got
that
a
dude was
two-point play.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a
Making
monster.
plays.
He was just a monster, and you had him driving, and he was the engine driving that team, that offense back then, and then Wandale was the engine driving it in 21. Like, do you just have to have a once-in-a-decade player to have a good passing offense? Because that's what that tells me. Like, you got to have a once-in-a-decade receiver. Once a decade, they can go do it. But that's the biggest thing they have to get fixed. And I think Mark Stoops realizes that. And that's why I back to my point earlier, Nick, you just got to figure it out. Like, how you as an organization and as a football team, how you have to operate to throw the football. Because that is what you have to do to give yourself even a chance, like to give yourself the hammer to maybe break through the concrete ceiling. Because if you don't have that, you're just punching it, and you're going to break your hand, and you're going to make soup, and your finger's going to burn. Because you're not going to get through that. But if you have the passing game, because what Stoops has done, he's built all of this without having, like, you see a lot of teams break through. It's the quarterback. Like, Washington is breaking through right now because they have Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah, Louisville got the cheat code with Lamar Jackson. Like,
Louisville got it with
that's the
Lamar
easiest.
Jackson.
Yeah.
So, like, typically when teams like this break through, like even Clemson, like the reason they break through and won national championships because they had 2 generational quarterbacks back to back. Like, typically the way teams break through is with the quarterback just grabbing everybody else and pulling them to the next level. And that's what I think it's going to have to take at Kentucky. But you've got to build a organization and a system where you can cultivate that potentially. And that's something I think they're trying to figure out how they can consistently do that.